I had this boyfriend once, and I asked him if my outfit made me look fat. He said, don't blame all that on an outfit. Can you believe? Can you believe? Okay, we broke up that night. But our next guest says you can blame an outfit for looking fat. I went to Dillard's department store Galleria where stylist Sarah Shah showed me how to dress yourself skinny. Sarah, a lot of times we go in the dressing room and we're so frustrated because something doesn't look the way it did on the mannequin. But we have to realize that a lot of clothes are kind of cut on the perfect model body.
You're exactly right. Designers are designing for the perfect model who really needs volume added to their body to make a statement up on a runway. But those of us in the mass market who are buying the clothes, we don't need any volume on our body. We're looking for a leaner look, not a bigger look. So we're really at odds with the system.
Yeah, and the other thing that we need to do is understand, kind of like the song goes, accentuate the positive, right? And diminish the part of our body that doesn't look so good. So with that said, let's take a look at some models who are wearing certain clothes in the wrong way and how to make it better.
And Tangi feels like she's very short-waisted. The thing is, the ideal female figure is an hourglass. So when we're looking in the mirror, we're trying to see the hourglass, but we don't usually have an hourglass figure. That's where we get frustrated. This dress is doing her, this is not her friend, right? Because it's hugging her whole body, and since she doesn't have an hourglass figure, it's accentuating the parts that aren't working. So Tangi feels like she's short-waisted. Really, the issue is if you apply the hourglass to her figure, that her hips are too narrow. So we need to find a dress that's going to make her hips look wider, and that's going to make her waist look smaller,
so
and it's going to give her the hourglass.
The other issue with that dress is it had that ruching or pleating, which oftentimes can hide a problem area, but in that case, it was like these arrows were just pointing to a problem area.
Yes, ruching in the right place can camouflage, but in that case, the ruching was all down her hips, making the dress tighter in an area that really wasn't working for her.
Okay, let's take a look at what does work for her.
Awesome.
Oh, much better, much better.
Isn't this better? So this is emphasizing her smallest part, which is right under her bust line. And then it just floats over the rest of her, creating the illusion that she has a wider hip.
Yeah.
And by doing that, it's making her waist look smaller.
And she looks proportioned. And I love, love, love that legging down there, because the legging, again, accentuates some of her smaller, longer, leaner parts.
And the leggings, along with the color of her shoes, is giving her a longer look.
And let's talk about print, because I know a lot of women who feel like if they have a little size on them, try to shy away from print, but this is a great way to do it. It's almost like color blocking.
Yes, with the print, it's asymmetrical. So it almost hypnotizes your eyes to keep you from finding each little flaw in our figure.
So Tangi had that narrow hip. Now we're going to the opposite problem, and that's the wider hips.
Right, when you have wider hips, sometimes you feel like you have a chest that's too small. So really, this is going to work for either figure type. So here's Amanda in a standard sheath dress. We see these everywhere, and this just really doesn't work on her. The horizontal lines make her hips look wider, and she feels really small on the top. And the way this pattern works, it makes her almost feel smaller. And because it's hugging her whole body, it's showing you the difference between the width of her bust line and the width of her hip line.
Yeah, and she's got a nice, pretty, slim body, but the proportion is wrong.
Exactly. She doesn't have an hourglass. Sometimes you have to make something bigger to make everything look smaller.
Yeah, and you're right. We don't realize that because we're so busy trying to make everything smaller.
Exactly.
Okay, so Amanda, you go change into the right dress, and we'll see you when you look more proportioned.
Exactly.
Oh, how cute. And all of a sudden, you're right. With this color blocking and the way that print's done, you don't see that her hips are wider. You don't see that her chest is smaller. It just all works.
So at the top, white is going to make things look bigger. Lighter colors make things look bigger. And because this beautiful neon stripe is curved, it gives her the illusion of having a bigger bust. And then in the bottom of the skirt, the dark panels on the side sort of erase that part of your hip.
All right. What's our next problem?
Our next problem is no waist. So Carrie has a body where her bust line and her waistline and her hip line are all about the same.
Let's take a look at the wrong dress. Okay, yeah, this just kind of looks like straight up and down, and it's not giving her any of those feminine curves that we all like to have in our dresses.
The thing that isn't working on this one is it's clinging to all of her curves, and we don't necessarily want all of our curves to show.
The other thing about that dress is it kind of just dropped from here, and so sometimes we might need to have a dress cut in a little bit and have some darts in it to make us look a little thinner.
If you carry your weight in your tummy area like I do and like Carrie does, we need to emphasize our rib cage.
Yes, there you go. There is the hourglass, and there's a number of reasons for that.
Right. So the ombre effect, and what that means is the dress is darker in some areas and lighter in other areas. So lighter areas look bigger and darker areas look smaller. So in this dress, the darker area is in the waistline, so it gives the illusion that she has a smaller waist.
So Sarah, there are a lot of people who hate shopping, and the reason why is they hate lugging in a ton of clothes, trying them on, taking them off, trying them on, taking them off. But if you know these basic rules about your body, you will learn to just take into the dressing room things that apply to your body.
Yeah, and that's really why I wrote my book, is so that you don't have to sift through all that stuff that doesn't work, because most clothing doesn't work. So this way you can identify the clothes that do and just focus on those.
Yeah, and dress yourself skinny. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Deborah.